Yes, people. Welcome back to GNA TV and welcome back to that Chelsea Ladies show. I'm your host, Jem.
And I'm Sophia.
And this is GNA TV.
Don't know how I'm here. And it's you that I want to need. You feel your heartbeat. You feel somewhere you're looking good. You feel your heartbeat. You feel somewhere you're looking
Down in there.
I think there's a bit of like a lag.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Are we good?
I hear you. I've got a bit of an audio echo though.
I think there's a bit of like
Yeah.
a lag.
Oh, right. What is going on here?
We can hear
Are we
you.
good?
Music.
I hear you. I've got a bit of an audio echo though.
I think there's a bit of
Yeah.
like a lag.
Oh, right. What is that?
We can hear
Are we
you.
good?
I hear you. I've got a bit of an audio echo though.
What's going on? What is actually going on right now? Sorry, people.
Oh,
Oh my god.
it's not.
Let me take you out for a second. Is it gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone.
What a way to start the show.
Does that mean it was there?
Yes, people. Welcome back to GNA TV.
Try
Beth,
again.
let's get you back in.
Does that mean it was there?
Is it Beth?
Yes,
people. Welcome back to GNA TV. Beth,
Yeah.
let's get you back in. Beth.
It's
It's
mad.
Beth. Beth, come out of StreamYard and come back
Why
in.
can't you stop speaking back?
I'm sitting there thinking it's me. Am I going mad? But it must have been feedback. No, all that time. Oh my god, that was crazy.
Oh god.
Ladies, how are you anyway? How are you all getting on? All good?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good.
Not too bad.
We welcome Joyce. We welcome Joyce with us today. Her debut on the Chelsea Ladies show. It's great to have you on with us. Let's just quickly wait for. Let's wait for Beth. Monsters in the house. Big up Lambs and Charlotte and the rest of the ladies. What else we've got going here? Big up to Jem and the ladies. Appreciate it. I know it sounds a bit weird. Jem and the ladies, doesn't it? Like, what am I doing here? Hey, look, Sophia, it's your admirer. I'm back. All the respectable
Hi.
ladies. Just a question, Jem. Why is it called the Chelsea Ladies Show? Because there's more ladies than men. Unless you want me to wear a wig, like, you know, which is not going to happen, by the way. I'm not going to be wearing a wig. So
Got one for
Why
I was
not?
waiting for you ladies to say that. I bet you
I
have
mean-
got a wig for me, ain't you? But right. Let's just get on with it because I don't know where she's gone. Let's get on with it. Oh, is that her? I ain't know, is it? Where is she? Oh, there she's there. There we go. So many people down here. Beth,
Sorted.
back in town.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah,
Wicked. Right. So, we are going to talk a little bit different. We're not going to be sitting here moaning about Frank Lampard or, you know, how crap he is or how crap the players are or what type of players we should buy or what manager we should bring in. Today, the topics are going to be about the past
Sorry, my
and the
cat's in.
present. The past and the present. I'm going to start with Joyce on this one.
Okay.
Joyce,
Yes.
your favourite Chelsea player ever. Let's start with this one. Can you please tell me who and why?
Can I cheat and pick two? Is that allowed?
Yes, of course you is. As if I'm going to say no. Go on, of course you can.
So I think for me, one of them is Frank Lampard, which is why like seeing like everything going on at the moment, literally just it breaks my heart every time we lose the game. I'm just like a little bit of me dies inside, because he's just an absolute legend. Like he's like the foundation, or one of the like foundations of our spine. He's been part of some of our most amazing memories. He's our top goal scorer. He was like he just had everything. And even though like people might not have said he was like the main leader, 'cause, you know, you have people like John Terry. I think he was kind of like that secondary leader, but still, he's just I just love Frank Lampard. And he just brought like loads of
Well,
amazing
as Mac would
players.
say,
Fat Frank.
Fat Frank, yeah? He ain't Fat Frank, mate. Stop taking the piss out of our manager, mate. We don't have that on here.
Yeah, no, I really
Who's your second?
second. Oh, now I'm gonna want to pick three. Right, okay. So my second, I think, has
No.
kind of grown to be Hazard. I just think like for the past like 7 years, he kind of carried Chelsea like on his back for like large moments of time. Like he was so enjoyable, like pleasurable to watch. Like he just made football fun. Like even like behind the scenes, like you watch his interviews and he's just happy all the time, just taking the piss out of Ivanovic, taking the piss out of everyone really. And he was just fun like on the pitch and off the pitch. And he made me like love football. He didn't make me love football, but he made me continue to love football. So yeah, those two.
Yeah, look, I think Hazard would definitely be mine. It would definitely be probably my first. He was a wizard on the pitch, absolutely great. Brought something completely different, something we haven't ever seen at Chelsea before. The magical moments, you know what I mean, where he take the game by the scruff of the neck and win us the game. Do you know what I mean? That was what was amazing. But Lambs, moving on to you. Tell me.
Hands down, Didier Drogba. Like, I mean, come on, this guy was just like scoring goals left, right, and centre. We just love to score against Arsenal. We just love to see it as well. And then 2 words: Champions League. That's it. So hands down, my favourite player of all time.
Yeah, I can't deny him. Again, he is probably the best clutch moment player ever in the Premier League history of my life. If you were playing a cup final and you needed one player in that squad, it would be Didier Drogba. Hands down, it would just be Didier Drogba, wouldn't it? Beth, tell me.
Actually, funnily enough, I also have 2 for this one. But exactly the same sort of thing, though. There's the player that made me fall in love with like Chelsea Football Club. The player that was like the first player I ever had on my shirt, England shirt, everything, and that's Frank Lampard. It always has to be Frank Lampard. Like he was just incredible. It was incredible to watch, to grow up with. But Eden Hazard as like ability, footballing wise, and special moments was just absolutely incredible. And I'm so glad that like we're in the generation that got to actually watch that. And I'm glad I got to see him play live. I think it was just amazing. Yeah.
I'm back. I did hear that. I don't know what it was doing. I was playing around with my mic trying to get it like. It sounds a bit crackly at the moment. I don't know why, but yeah. Yeah, Charlotte, tell me. Favourite
Dennis
Chelsea
Wise,
player?
man. Dennis Wise. That man is a legend. So, like, the man had 13 goals in 44 games in his first season. Legend. Just put it out there, legend. Like, he captained the Super Cup for the Real Madrid in his second season. He captained that. That was his first Super Cup trophy as a captain. Then he captained the FA Cup against... Oh, that was a good game. The FA Cup that we won. That was I think it was one of his first ever trophy as a captain. That's a game I remember, you know. He was beautiful in that game. You know, the man had talent and he had a passion as well that I enjoyed to watch. You know, when someone comes on the pitch, it was like Eden Hazard has that passion when he comes on the pitch. It's a passion that you see in very few players, but when it happens, it's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that one. Sophia, favourite Chelsea player ever? Who is it?
I think mine was Gianfranco Zola. He was the one I kind of like grew up watching. He was the first one I had on the back of one of my shirts. I met him a few times at Harlington. So I think for me, he was one of the greatest players that we had.
Fair enough. I can't disagree with any of them, to be fair. They're all top players. That's one thing Chelsea have always had. Like, they've always had such... It's not like the one player, is it? You could pick about 5 or 6 or 7 different top quality players. You know, can you imagine the Hazards playing in the squads that we've got today? Like, or the Drogbas, for example. Drogba's probably a better example. Can you imagine Drogba with, like, the squad that we've got today? Like, the amount of service he would be getting and stuff. Especially because
Right now.
Yeah, can you imagine crossing FC? We're crossing FC at the moment. Can you imagine Drogba in the box? He would score like every game, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
It
But
would.
could you
It'd be top.
imagine? Could you imagine Drogba and Hazard on the same pitch?
But they did play with each other, didn't they?
Yeah.
No.
Already.
But I mean, like in this team now, like if they were to both come back and were both on form, could you imagine that? Like that would be dangerous.
That's
I
like
think.
a dream.
Yeah, and then maybe just throw John Terry in the back as well, just to steady up things because that defence is dodgy as hell. And throw Ashley Cole on the left and put Peter Cech in goal, and then we'll be very happy. With it, you know what I mean?
Basically replace the whole back, right?
Yeah, just basically
Literally.
everything.
Frank, man, get your boots
Yeah.
on.
Joyce, your second question. Your favourite and most memorable match as a Chelsea fan.
See, this one's hard. Like, okay, so I feel like because somebody is going to say the Champions League final, I'm going to say one that isn't a Champions League final because there's other games that I've like really, I don't know, that I've loved. So for me, obviously like winning the Champions League, but another game during that run that I really, really loved was the comeback versus Napoli. I feel like that is one of the craziest games I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah.
Like it's like it was kind of in my head. Like, you know, most people thought like that was the kind of a dead rubber. Like it was a foregone conclusion. The game's done, and then you just get that like wrapped into something. It's just it was such a crazy game. I just remember being so excited by it. You know, after like a game that kind of defies logic, but you're not expecting, you suddenly get that belief like, okay, do you know what, we can do this. And then we went on and continued to have really crazy moments during that run, and I think that just sparked it. So aside from, you know, the obvious, I think that's another game that I really loved.
Do you know what? I always remember that game, and the first thing that comes to my mind at that game was, you remember Ramirez gets the ball in the wing and then he whips it in the box, and you just remember Drogba out of nowhere just like kind of side dives and heads it into the top corner. Like that goal always that ignited us that game. As soon as he scored that goal and he ran over and picked the ball up and ran back, and then you had Terry scoring, Lampard scoring, it was like the core just came alive, didn't it? And then I think Ivanovic scored the winner, didn't he? It was Ivanovic that scored the winner as well. Like mad game, absolute madness. But Lambs, same question to you.
My most memorable and enjoyable game to watch as a Chelsea fan. You know what? Right, this is a bit of a weird one, but I just remember I was just like, this game is just absolutely ridiculous, and I'm like, I can't believe what I'm watching, but I'm here for it, and I love it. It was that 6-0 win that we had against Arsenal, and then the referee sent off the wrong Kieran Gibbs, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and I was just like, wow, like this is just like, if I was an Arsenal fan, I would actually just
that was peak. That was so peak.
I think it's 1,000th time in charge.
I was here for it. It was brilliant to watch. And as each goal went in, I was just laughing. Like, oh, brilliant. Give me more. I love it.
Do you know what? I actually forgot that game. Like now, it's crazy when you actually sit down and think how many good games Chelsea actually had. Like that wouldn't have come to my mind unless Lamb's thought of that. And that's why I love this topic, because it brings back proper memories. And mate, I remember, is it Andre Schürrle that scored? I think he scored the first goal in that game, didn't it? Bottom left-hand corner. Do you remember that outside the box? Oh man, that was.
Remember people like Andre Schürrle, Michael Ballack, Johnson, like all them man there.
They were the days, man. I swear, they were the actual days. I actually enjoyed being a Chelsea fan also. Beth, same question to you.
Okay, mine's a weird one. Mine's more the sentimental value than the actual like watching the football match itself. So it's sort of the same page as not wanting to say the Champions League final, but it's actually the game I knew we were going to win the Champions League, and that was the away game against Barcelona. Because that game, my heart was in my mouth the whole time. But you know, from like the moment John Terry got sent off and then Ramirez scored, and I was like, we're winning it. And then like, what? Messi missed a penalty. Torres Fernando Torres, the only player that didn't want to get back and defend, goes and like runs the whole pitch and scores a goal at the end. That was absolutely beautiful. It was like the best moment ever. And I was such a Torres fangirl back then as well. So I was like, yeah, look, he won us this game. We're going to the final. It's all of it, all on him. But it's just that I will watch that game again and again and again. And I just love the passion that we showed to want to win that game because we were getting battered. We didn't park one double decker bus. We parked 4 double-decker buses. They weren't getting through, and they just showed so much like composure, and it was amazing. Yeah.
Well, John Terry let us down that game, didn't he? Because I remember him kneeing Alexis Sanchez in the back, and I remember him getting sent off, and I was so disgusted. I've never been disgusted of him, but that game, I actually looked at him and I was like, "What are you doing?" And then Ramirez goes in the other end of the pitch and does that chip. And I don't think people talk about that chip enough because it was Ramirez. But if that was Messi, that would have gone down in history as one of the best Champions League goals ever, especially let alone being down to 10 men as well. Like, that goal was unreal. And then with Torres, that last goal with Torres, he actually lost the ball. He was trying to run out with the ball and he actually loses it. And he just walked off, like, pissed off with himself, like he was, like his Chelsea career, just walking that way. And then Ashley Cole cleared it. And then, Torres has got it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, it was a great game. It was an absolutely immense game. Charlotte, tell me.
Mine would have to be the Everton game, 6-3, back in 2014. Now, that was a game that had, like from the minute Diego Costa got that goal to the fact that I think at one point we were 3-2 and I was panicking and I was like, oh my God. And then we were 4-3 and I was like, shit. And then it came 6-3 and I was like, oh, okay, I can relax now. But like, it was the days of the six kind of goals on our side that I loved, like especially the Everton game, because it wasn't just like an easy game. Like we didn't just get all the goals, 6 goals, and that was it. Like we got like 3 goals and we were comfortable. And then like it became very complicated when it became 3-2 and then 4-3, and I was like, oh, like I love those kind of games because when they turn it around in the end, like it's beautiful. And obviously Ramirez got the last goal.
Those are the kind of games we used to have, like against Liverpool in the Champions League.
Yes.
Close games, them like 3-4 goal thrillers, and it was just like we'd score and then they'd score, and it'd just be like, oh no, whoever gets the next goal, they've got the away goal, we've got the away goal, and always be like that one goal that determines who gets knocked out, and then usually be on like away goals, it'd be that close. But I used to love it.
Only we don't have that
I used
passion
to love
anymore.
it. Like I really used to love it. Like it was a proper like I couldn't call it until like the last goal going in, and I used to love that because you used to know Chelsea used to love a comeback.
Yeah, they did. Big up to, before we go to Sophia, Anthony's asked me some really random question, but I've got to answer it. Hi, ladies and Jem. Question for Jem. Going back when Mourinho got your physio sacked, what is your thoughts on that? She was gorgeous.
Nah, hate this.
Let's be serious. She was a sexy physio, wasn't she? She was definitely a good-looking one. Like, I would fall down more if it was me. I'd be on the floor like Hazard, holding my leg, going, ah. You know what I mean? Like,
while she was there, surprisingly, that was when our squad was like at its most fit. Like all the players like became fit. So as soon as she went, stuff started.
It's all gone downhill.
It went downhill, didn't it? Yeah. What did I think of it? Not much, really. Mourinho's got a bad temper. He lets it out on players. He doesn't care who it is. If he's not happy with someone, he makes it very clear. Obviously, he may have went a bit over the top with her. But, I didn't really look too much into it. I know it went to court and she won the battle as well, didn't she? And she got quite a bit of money out of it. So it is what it is. But, Sophia, going on to you. Most memorable
Am I allowed
match,
to say the Champions League final?
She can.
Because that was definitely the next day. I don't really think I had a voice. That was just like, and again, honestly, it's just against all odds. I don't know how in the world we did it, but that one was definitely like the written in the stars one. So hopefully one day we'll do that again.
Attacks. Yeah. I've never had more panic attacks in a Chelsea game in my life than that one. Like, that one was the worst. Like I had heart palpitations. I was going
Yeah.
outside. I was like, couldn't breathe, and I was looking around the corner at the TV. And when Thomas Muller scored that goal, I was like, it's done. We're done. Like,
Yeah,
there's no
same.
82nd minute.
I got
Like,
off and I walked out, and I was like, especially at the time, it was like 8. It was like
I was like,
18 minutes. So I was like, that's it. It's done. I was so angry. Yeah. And then I go into the kitchen. Yeah, I go into the kitchen. I'm just like washing up my dinner plate, and then all I hear is Drogba, and then I'm like, what? And then I just run back, and I just see the goal, and I'm like, beautiful.
do you know what? More for us as well. How can we ever sit there and not remember that we've got Didier Drogba, the clutch game player that owed us the Champions League after getting sent off at Moscow because he slapped Vidic in the face, and then John Terry had to take the 5th winning penalty because he was in there and slips. Yeah, and then he's ruined for the rest of his life now. And if I was John Terry, I would sit there and I would be moaning. I'd say, Drogba, that's your fault. I've been trolled for like the last 10 years. You, mate. Like, but he made up for it, didn't he? He won him a league at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, moving on. Joyce, the third topic: your worst memory of a match as a Chelsea fan. Your worst memory of a match as a Chelsea fan.
I mean, aside from the one we just mentioned.
Well, is that the worst? You must have been. You must have seen stuff that made you nearly cry. Like, oh my
It was
god.
pretty crap, and I think because I remember like the day after that, I got bullied in school so much because everyone knew that I was a Chelsea fan, and all the boys were like United fans. They all came, they were like pinching me, like, just got taken the piss out of so much. But I think like a more recent game that just like boiled my blood was losing against Bournemouth in 15-16, just before Mourinho got sacked.
God.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was like, when it's like the straw that just breaks the camel's back. It was just such a horrible game. And I remember like watching that game just being so pissed off and so frustrated that like, I'm pretty sure I flung something. Like, I just, in recent memory, I think that's one game that just made me like very, very angry. Even though I knew like the sacking was kind of coming and we'd had like some bad results up until that point. It was like, we lost to Bournemouth. And I was like, because at the time, like, it's not like we've ever been like a fantastic team. It was like, really, like, this is really the thing that's going to end Mourinho's like tenure at Chelsea. And it just, I really hated that game.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's been. I couldn't even think of my worst game. Like every time Chelsea lose, it feels like my worst game. I'm just like always upset.
Speaking of games,
Actually.
Aston Villa just equalised.
Oh, sick.
Have they?
Oh,
Is it
really?
1-0?
Yeah,
Oh,
1-1.
results.
Because
Living now.
Come on, Villa.
No, they've
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I haven't even seen the Liverpool squad, but I saw the Villa squad, and the Villa squad was
Oh,
literally
yes.
like academy players. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But London is red. You got dominated by Bayern in the final. You were lucky Bayern didn't have their shooting boots on, whilst we got robbed by UEFA loaner in 2006. Oh, listen, you're an Arsenal fan. Of course you would say that.
The same scoreline, home and away. So be quiet.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking
The
about,
problem is,
bruv?
the minute you
Lost
start saying
10-2
London is
on
red, you know this
aggregate,
person's
remember
delusional.
Where's their Champions League trophy?
That's
Yeah,
why.
hopefully.
That's why he come out with that comment.
On aggregate, we can at least hold our hands up and say we've never lost 10-2 on aggregate in a Champions League game.
We have a Champions League.
Yes. Yeah, when was
Yes,
the last time
Lam,
Arsenal
back to
actually won
you.
the Champions League?
Oh, that's 3-2.
On to you, Lam. It's your worst memory of a Chelsea game.
To be honest, like you said, like I feel the same way, Jem. Like every time Chelsea lose, it feels like it's the worst game for me. To be honest, I'm just kind of like I'm just sitting there like, what on earth did I watch? Like, what were you doing? And I just think and remember how frustrated it made me feel. But I'm gonna go with this. You know, I'm not gonna go for that. I saw that Gerrard slip. That was horrible. That was great. That was great, but horrible for Liverpool fans to watch. But I'm gonna go for, you know, recently the back end of last season when we lost 3-0 to Sheffield United.
Yeah.
I thought that was just like horrible, especially considering we were still like in the running for top four. It wasn't guaranteed at the point. We were still competing with United and Leicester. Like top four wasn't guaranteed. and that lackluster performance, that like there was nothing, like the team gave absolutely nothing in that game. And it made me so angry because I'm just thinking, I don't understand. Do you understand you're still in the top 4 race? And that performance was absolute like crap. And we got to give Leicester credit, Sheffield United credit for their performance last season. But we should. There's no way we shouldn't have won that game. And just the whole approach to it just showed me like, is Lampard to blame or is it the players?
Yeah.
I don't.
No,
and now,
I agree.
how many months later? I don't know. We're finding ourselves in a question because, but yeah, that was, I think, like after watching that game, that's when I first started thinking, not really too sure about him, you know. That was the first time I started questioning Lampard.
No, I agree. It was definitely definitely a massive disappointment, that one. Beth, question for you. Same question.
Okay, guys, I don't want to give any of you PTSD when I say this, so I'm really sorry. But Barcelona 2009 was the worst game I can ever remember. Obviously, not for how we played, because, you know, we actually played a really great game. But the refereeing, I'm actually still angry about it. Look, I can see all of you getting angry about it. I'm so mad. I'm still angry about it. Okay, he's admitted since then that he should have given us like 4 penalties. Like four. I can see how you don't give 1 penalty, maybe 2 penalties, 4. Get angry. And then who was it? Abidal should have been sent off in the first half, and then he was only sent off in the second half. And then when Iniesta's goal went in, I lost my shit. I mean, I wasn't very old at this point. I was 13, but I lost my shit. All of my shit everywhere. It was gone. Mad.
I remember.
So that was an easy question.
I ain't gonna lie, that was probably the worst. Like, he got sacked, didn't he? That referee the next day, or did he resign? I can't remember. One of the two. He couldn't face the media because he was getting death threats. It was bad. It was really, really bad.
Drogba, wasn't it?
Yeah, do you remember him? He was like, "What did he say? It's a disgrace." I remember it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I remember. Charlotte.
I'll forever replay that clip of Drogba saying
And Michael Ballack was chasing the referee at the end as well, and he was like,
I remember that. I actually remember that as well. It's going mental. We should have had about, I'm not joking, we should have had about 4 penalties. Easily 4 penalties. And they handballed one. I think it was PK handballed one in the box. And Drogba was going mental about it. And it was so obvious. The referee was there. It was literally 2 yards from me. He was staring at it. It's not like he didn't even see it. Like, it was so bad. Such a bad game.
That Camel's back at like the last minute. Iniesta scores an absolute screamer of a goal. And I literally just wanted to just take my TV off the wall. Like,
when he scored that goal, my face was actually like this. I was like, you know, when you just, because Peter Cech actually, and do you know what annoyed me about that game, right? Peter Cech, it wasn't the greatest of shots from Iniesta. He hits it on the outside of his boot, but Peter Cech decides to use his left arm rather than his right. That's why he doesn't save it, because if he uses his right, he's getting a strong hand to it. He decides to go like that instead of just going like that. And I was like, oh my God. You know what? The build up to that goal.
I don't think he was expecting it. I don't think any of us were expecting it because it was quite a distance to have a shot from.
Yeah.
He was so confident, Iniesta. Like, this is Iniesta in his prime Iniesta.
Literally.
Thought, why not? And Peter Cech didn't see it coming. No one saw it coming.
Do you know what annoyed me, Lambs? What annoyed me the most about that goal was that we tried to clear it twice. One landed to Essien and he scuffed it. Like, he didn't even go anywhere. It just landed straight to the player. And I think John Terry, he was meant to header the ball out. And it went like 2 yards to someone outside the box. It was a shocking header, but you know, it is what it is. We lost the game, and I do think that Champions League is definitely rigged. I'm sorry, like, just based upon that game, there's something not right. It's not adding up. But Charlotte, on to you.
Mine is more recent. Mine's Man City last year with the 90 game with 6-0. Killed me. Like, it genuinely did. Just because, like, like we didn't look like we were giving anything. We genuinely didn't. It's one of the first games that we just didn't turn up at all. Like this season bad. Like we genuinely turned up in that game like we did this season, and I was unimpressed. Like I genuinely was. Like the fact that we let Aguero get a hat trick, Sterling was like trying to get his hat trick. Like Sterling was taking shots at these goals. He's ready for a hat trick too. Like what's going on? Like I was because I was in the pub that day, and I'd gone with some of the Man City friends. Bloody got ripped that day. That I will not be having that again. Like I just had to turn to drink. There was no other way for me. No other way. The only way to get through a game like that is to drink. And that is what I did.
Charlotte, do not use drink as an excuse to drink. That doesn't work. That doesn't work.
Well, it turned out all right for me, if I'm really honest for you. It turned out a great night in the end. I used the drink for it, and it was great. Sometimes when your team lets that many goals in, you have to.
Cheers to that, Charlotte.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Cheers. Cheers. Sophia, tell us.
I would still say the Moscow game, also because of Terry's reaction, and I just felt like wanting to cry after his reaction after slipping. I was just like, oh my god, I want to cry with him. And I think another one for just kind of like sentimental reasons was like Di Matteo's last game, because I just thought he won us the Champions League and then he got sacked, and I was just like, why? That hit me quite hard as well. Like, this is how we treat someone that took over and won us the Champions League.
But look at what we did to Mourinho.
Maybe replaced him with like one of our most hated managers ever.
Yeah. And shout out to Bits and Bobs who's in the chat. She says shout out to Jem and the lovely ladies. Big up to you, bro. Hope you are very, very well. Yeah, that game, that Champions League game in Moscow, right? I always remember it, right? Because it's the only game that I remember where I lost and I actually went into depression, like bad depression. So you know what I did? I went down the road and I went to the kebab shop, but I didn't just go to the kebab shop and buy a small doner. I ended up buying a mixed grill for like 3 people and just eating it to myself, like that depressed. I then went and picked up a bottle of wine as well, and then I literally just went home and I was just so depressed and just drank. My mate kept calling me, and then all my mates were like Arsenal and Tottenham fans, and they kept messaging me, and then I ended up like just muting them, and it was a horrible day for me. It was definitely it was a good day, but a horrible day in terms of what happened. The only good side out of that was that kebab, man. That kebab was nice at the time, but yeah. Moving on. Joyce, the fourth question. Your favourite ever Chelsea manager.
Favourite
Why
ever Chelsea
as well? Yeah.
Do you know what? I feel like even though it was like a very short tenure, I want to say Ancelotti, only because he brought me like one of my favourite teams. I feel like that team was just really fun to watch. Like we all like popping teams like 8-0, like just for fun. Like and even though we kind of almost lost like the end of that season, winning it on the final day was like really great. And like we played really great football, and like Drogba and Lampard were like in the form of their lives. And like I think he was just, I really enjoyed him, and I think it's one of the like seasons that I probably like Premier League seasons that I remember like one of the most clearly out of like the kind of old ones that we've had. So yeah, probably say him.
Yeah, I hear you. Sorry, I just saw this comment and it actually brought back memories.
Oh, that was
We gave him so much stick.
I feel a bit bad.
Oh dear, you gotta laugh. I do love our viewers, man. Our viewers are quality. They're so
Just
funny. They
reminds
always
me of the
keep us
guy
entertained.
from Toy Story, from Al's Toy Barn. Just imagine him.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's a good comparison.
Oh,
That is actually a very good comparison. Lambs, same question to you. Favorite ever Chelsea manager and why?
Um, oh God, I'm gonna get so much stick right now because like
Don't say AWB.
I'm currently hating on him right now, but he's still like my favorite ever manager. Do you know why? It's Jose Mourinho because it's basically like you know how like in your lifetime everyone's always like, oh, you get that one epic like love of your life, and like you'll never meet anybody like them ever again. Do you know what I mean? Like, the one that got away, like you're always gonna hold a soft spot for your heart, in your heart for them. So like that's Jose Mourinho for like me, do you know what I mean? And for Chelsea, do you know what I mean? So when you see him go to like Tottenham or Manchester United, it's almost kind of like seeing like the love of your life, like your ex hook up with like your worst enemy, or just like, okay, it's like that. You can't help but like hate on him, but it's just like he was just brilliant. Like he was like the manager to like put us on the map as Chelsea Football Club. He won us titles, like he got us in the contention of being like a big team, whereas before we were like that team that was kind of always struggling to kind of make top four and stuff like that. We always fell short of like the Liverpools, the Arsenals, the Manchester United. We were never quite on their level, and thanks to him, he was the one that kind of put us on the map. And he was just absolute vibes. I mean, sometimes when in his post-match interviews, I would just like live for them. Like when he just like walk out down the tunnel before the full-time whistle, and when they'd ask him why he do that, he'd be like, "Oh, I had to text my wife to score us," and nonsense like that. He just come out with the like really most brilliant.
He was smooth.
It was just you gotta love him.
He was a smooth criminal, wasn't he? He was definitely smooth. I'll give him that. Like he was probably the smoothest manager we've ever had. Like his way. I think women used to fancy him, didn't they? Even like back in 2004 when he first came over.
Even my mum did. I think she still does.
Yeah.
I mean, when you walk into your first press conference and you go, when you walk into your first press conference and you sit there and you go, and someone asks you a question, and the first thing you come out with is, "I am the special one." Like, you know what I mean? That's obviously saying something. The guy must be decent. But yeah, madness. Beth, same question to you.
So mine was actually going to be a toss-up between Jose Mourinho. I understand like all the points for Jose. I think he's like Chelsea all over, just like his attitude. Like other fans hated him, and I loved that. I loved how much like other fans hated Chelsea under Jose Mourinho. So beautiful. But my heart has to go with Carlo here, because I'm actually a massive fan of Carlo Ancelotti. I love watching him. I love watching his teams. Sad to see him in the Premier League again, but at least it's only Everton. He's not gone to like Man United and Spurs or anything like that. I think I've got great memories of Carlo, because when I didn't get into football till I was about 12. And I feel like that's when Carlo was managing us, I think. And it was just like he had that spine of Czech, Lampard, Terry, Cole, Drogba. It was just beautiful football, banging in 8 goals for fun. I loved it. And he was sacked too soon.
He was for me as well. Like he was a top manager, man. He is, and he still is now. It doesn't matter wherever Ancelotti goes, he always gets the best out of his squad. Like always, if it was Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, AC Milan when he first started there, he's for me personally. If Lampard went, and that sounds sick, but he's the only manager I want. Like he is the man. He would suit this Chelsea squad so well as well. He'd get the best out of them, trust me. But yeah, he looks like he's doing well at Everton, and it's showing quite clearly. I mean, I think they played the last 5 games. They've won 4 or saying Everton. They're really on a good stint of form at the moment as well. So doing very, very well there. Charlotte, your favourite Chelsea manager?
Gianluca Vialli. Like he is, for my eyes, he was like the manager of legends. Like he really was. Like for me, he kind of, he was before Mourinho, but he did so much and he doesn't get the recognition. Like it was all it was all like Mourinho towards the beginning got the recognition and he didn't. But he done cup shields, he done Super Cup, he done FA Cup. He was the youngest manager to win the FA. Like, is it the FA Cup? Yeah, youngest manager. No, the UEFA. He was the youngest manager to win the UEFA. Like that. Like no one talks about that. Like the man literally was a legend. He got 3rd and 4th in the Premier League. Like he had 5 trophies he was there from 1998 to 2000. So that's 3 years and he got 5 trophies. That's saying something. Someone needs to acknowledge this man. Hand this man an OBE or like, I don't know, like the man's a legend. Let me tell you that now. Absolute legend. Like, and the only reason that he left was because there was like a massive, well, it's speculation. There's rumours of fallout in like the dressing room. But I mean, for me, he was an actual legend. When you're like beating Real Madrid in the Super Cup, like that's cool for me. Like you carry on. No, for real.
Yeah, I agree. He was definitely he had a sexy team, didn't he? And he used to even play as well. I remember I loved like seeing Vialli put his like kit on. Like imagine Jose Mourinho coming on the pitch putting his kit on. Like it doesn't happen anymore. Like back then, you used to get player managers and stuff. That was
literally.
That was so sick. But big up to DJ Serve, one of our longest members here. He says, greatest moment, Jose, telling the Liverpool fans shh when we scored our goal against Liverpool and telling Arsene Wenger he is a specialist in failure. Who remembers that in the press conference? I actually do as well. That's why we love him, don't we? Like, if you're against him, you hate him. But if he's a part of your squad or if he's at your club, he's like the best. Like, because he just don't give 2 fucks, does he? Do you know what I mean? And that's what's so great about it. Do you know what I mean? But
literally.
Sophia, same question to you.
My cat's biting my earphones. I would definitely say Jose as well. He was just like the whole package, like cool, calm, collected. His charisma was like amazing. He had balls, and like his press conferences were just something else. They were just amazing. I think he probably had like the best. That was just, I guess, once we started having like the Russian money pumped into us, and he kind of picked up from there. So.
No, I totally agree with you on that one. Got 2 more questions left. 2 more. It was meant to be 1, but I've added 1, so there's 2. There's 2 left. The last question for you, ladies, starting with Joyce, is if you could take any Chelsea player from the past and put them in the current Chelsea squad now, who would it be? And it can only be 1. You can't sit there and tell me, oh, but I've got 3 or 2.
I think a lot of us answered that about 20 minutes ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did you?
Kind of.
I could toss up between like Drogba and Hazard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked you your favourite player, but now I'm asking what player you take to go in this. You got to think that the current squad we got, the players we got. Why would you have that player? It could be because you wanted Peter Cech because we've got Mendy and he's not good enough for. Do you know what I mean? It's got to fit the squad. Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. Do you know what? Oh, I can't. I've only got to pick 1, haven't I? Right. Okay.
Just 1.
You guys come back to me. I'm not really like.
Lambs, are you ready for the question?
Yeah. Come back to me.
Okay. I was actually really thinking about the whole goalkeeper thing because it would either be a goalkeeper or a striker because that's something that I feel like is glaringly like obviously wrong in our squad at the moment. We're struggling to score goals. We don't really have a consistent goal scorer. And lately, obviously, Kepa's been abysmal. And, Mendy...
Oh my God, don't mention Kepa.
Okay, sorry. The K word. Not the K word.
Oh my God. No, please don't. I'm going to turn to drink again. Nah, please don't.
You shall not be
And then we brought Mendy now, who's... he started off well, but lately he's been making like the last 3 to 4 games, he's been making some terrible mistakes, and we can't deny that. I feel like that's kind of like leaking into the defense as well. So the defense are kind of making a bit some mistakes, and he's kind of not cleaning it up as well. So he's not completely to blame, but still he's not a convincing goalkeeper. So that's a shout. But I would say I would probably say Didier Drogba, to be honest, because I feel like, especially with all the players that we have who can cross balls in, like Ziyech, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Chilwell, Reece James, like he will get onto the end of those balls. He will get onto them. He might not always score them, but he will get a chance on goal or at least that goal or something. So.
No, I agree. I mean, that's a great shout. We have become Cross FC, haven't we? So I think Didier Drogba would probably get about 35 goals this season with Reece James whipping them balls in, because Tammy Abraham gets about 15 shots a game and takes one. Imagine Drogba on the end of them. Like, he's scoring hat-tricks. I'm telling you, he's definitely scoring hat-tricks. It's one of them. But, Beth, same question to you.
This is purely for leadership and like kicking the players into gear. John Terry, completely, I think, because obviously the best ever captain ever that we've had, I think. And I just feel like the players don't have that drive sometimes when we're losing. They don't have someone like shouting at them and making them like pick it up and stuff. I feel like John Terry's sort of leadership will be needed some points this season, for sure. Feels like a great leader.
Good chat. Good chat. And that's something Chelsea... There's a lot of things that Chelsea are lacking in this current squad. Leaders, a good goalie, a left-back, someone that can create an assist. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot. There's a lot to pick from. But Charlotte, what are you saying?
I mean, we need a new goalkeeper. Like, I'm sorry, done. I don't. Our strikers, we could improve. Like, I think they have potential. I'm not saying it's going to be the greatest, but they have some sort of potential. Maybe if like Werner confidence grows, maybe we do. But right now, we need a goalkeeper. Mendy, he's turning into Kepa. I was like, the last couple of matches, I've been like, who is this man on the pitch? Like, I know, but the problem I have is that everyone thinks that Mendy's like this genius, and he's not. He's an average goalkeeper. The only reason he looks decent is because Kepa was that horrific. But I want Cech on form. I want Peter Cech at his prime, and I'd happily take him in goal because I think he brings some stability. And I think once you've like got the stability of like, once you've got stability of like the goalkeeper, I think the defense kind of gets into line and everything falls into place. But I feel like if you've got a goalkeeper that's unsteady and making mistakes, everyone else seems to make mistakes. Whereas if you have a sturdy defense, like you're sound, like, because if you've got a sturdy defense, you have more chance of not conceding.
No, I agree. I agree with what you are saying. Sophia, tell me.
I'd take back Drogba in a heartbeat. He was just an all-round complete, just perfect goal scorer, really. He would just, even if he didn't score all of his chances, he would still at least like give it a go. And yeah, I think it's perfect. He had like the passion and everything.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout, to be fair. Joyce, have you thought about it?
Right.
You ready?
I'm between two, but I'll go with one. It's a bit of like a left field one, but I would actually bring back Fabregas. And I'll explain why, because it's a bit of a weird one. But I think if you look at our team like at the moment, we do a lot of like crossing in, and like a lot of our creativity comes from our fullbacks, and like our midfield is like great and like as dynamic as they are, we don't really create much from them, and we don't really have someone who can like split the lines with like a really good pass, like put in like an amazing through ball that like just creates chances out of nowhere, like gives chances to someone like, Tammy doesn't really get the, like if he's not getting headers, then maybe he can get the ball to feet if he gets a really good chance like from someone like Fabregas. And I feel like that vision and that creativity is something that will just transform our team to like a whole another level. And so obviously there's loads of players that I would want to take back. I think just specifically for our team right now, I think Fabregas is probably my left field player that I would bring back.
Yeah, no, it's definitely great. Yeah, he was magic. He was a magician. I mean, the amount of assists he used to bring to the game. Someone's also said this one, and I can actually again agree with this because we lack goals from midfield. Can you imagine having a Frank Lampard running in like a magnet in the box and like you're getting on the end of things and scoring? Like the man is the highest goal scorer from a highest scoring midfielder in Premier League history. Like he's mixed in with strikers and some of the best strikers. You know what I mean in terms of the goals that have scored and that. But if I'm being honest, I'm probably throwing it all out the window. I'd love to have Eden Hazard back. I just like the idea of him, Werner, Havertz, Ziyech. I know Pulisic. I love Pulisic as well, but
Think like
can you just
Ziyech
imagine?
and have
The problem you
Werner
can probably have with Pulisic is that he's a player that it gets injured, like, and we have to just accept that now, that his injury is going to be reoccurring, and that we have to be careful when we put him on, and that we have to be careful that we don't trigger this injury again. Like, fact is, I don't think he's worth. I'm going to be really blunt here. I don't think he's worth the money, and I personally think we should get rid of him. Not because he's not a good player when he's on the pitch and he's fit. I'm not saying that at all. But when you have a player that's reoccurring with an injury, is it worth what you've got, what you're going to get out of him? Like how much, like since we bought him and since now, like, has he been worth the money? Probably not. The amount of injury time he's had, like, and the problem you've got is that it's just going to keep occurring.
Yeah. Does anyone disagree with Charlotte about Christian Pulisic?
No, go on, sorry.
Not really. I mean, to an extent, I do agree. He is quite injury prone. He's a great player, though, to be honest. Like, when he is on form, he's brilliant. It's the injury thing. It's just kind of like, okay.
He hasn't come back on form since the last injury.
Exactly. And we're still, like, even now to this day, waiting for Pulisic to be back. Like, we haven't really seen it yet, have we? So, to be fair, he's not wrong.
Yeah, I agree. Right, we've got one more question that I didn't actually give to the ladies. It just came to my head when I went through it, and I was like, oh crap, I forgot to ask them. Your favourite Chelsea winning squad, if it has to be from the title winners. So your favourite ever Chelsea squad that won a title, and I want to know why as well. Yeah, so if it's the Mourinho squad, if it's the Ancelotti squad, the Conte squad, why is it? Like, what are the reasons? And I'm gonna. Who wants to start? I ain't gonna start with Joyce because I don't want to put her under pressure. But who wants to start this one? Anyone?
I don't mind the Conte
Charlotte?
squad.
No?
Yeah, go on then. Well, mine would probably be the Mourinho, and probably the first season of when he first won it. And I know that, like, it's an easy way to say it, but that feeling I got from that first ever, like, win, I'm never gonna get that back. Like, I'm never ever gonna get that back, like, ever. And no matter how many times you can win it after, like, that feeling is never the same as the first time. And it was a great squad, and Mourinho did wonders, and you can't. The first season of Mourinho did wonders, and you can't take that away from him. Man's a football genius.
Yeah, and it was the first, wasn't it? Can't get any sweeter than that as well. Beth.
2009, 2010, Carlo's title winning squad, double winners. Again, purely because the football we were playing was, like, really good. We scored a lot of goals. It was enjoyable to watch. Frank Lampard and Didier Drogba were, like, in their prime years, like 20 goals a season each. It was just amazing to watch, I think. And I feel like any sort of, if you were ever to make, like, a squad of all the Chelsea players, the best players, most of them would have been in that team.
Yeah,
Hazard, maybe.
It's a great shot. He had some great players there, didn't he? Absolute top players. Joyce.
I would probably say the same. The 9-10 season is probably one of my favourites. I mean, like, at the time, it was like a record-breaking, like, number of, like, goals and stuff. It was just fun to watch, even though we nearly bottled it. But it was a really fun season for me. I think in terms of like nostalgia, it's the one that I kind of go back to the most. But like an underrated favorite, I think, is actually the Conte season. Especially
Yeah.
because after the Arsenal game, everyone kind of thought, right, it's going to be another manager, we're just going to hire and fire, which we did anyway. But we then kind of went on this like ridiculous like winning run, and we just played really great football. Everyone decided to copy how we played football because we just set like a new blueprint. And I think that was also another like really fun but like underrated season, especially after coming like 10th the season before. So yeah.
Good chat. Good chat. Sophia?
I think mine was a draw between Carlo's squad and the Conte one. Also because the Carlo squad was like back to back. All the players were like immense. The
Yeah.
Conte squad, I know me personally, I didn't have the belief that we would actually win under him. And it was just like a surprise. We just did, and they were an underrated team. But I think Carlo's squad just tops it purely because the players and the double.
Yeah, I hear you. Lambs, finish off. Who are you going for?
I'm going for like a weird one, but I'm gonna go for our 2005-2006 title winning season under Jose Mourinho. I just thought, like, especially after winning the title the season before, everyone just thought, okay, it's a one-off. It's not going to happen again. The big boys, like the United, the Arsenals, and stuff. Like at the time, they'll be back. They'll win it next year. Like it's an anomaly. And like we actually came back bigger and better. And like after all the criticism that Drogba had after his he had a really difficult like breakthrough season at Chelsea. Obviously wasn't really scoring a lot of goals. It took a while for him to find his rhythm. And then when he finally did, it just like came together. And then I don't know, we had like a pretty good squad. We had like Ian Robin, William Gallas, Claude Makelele, like handling that defensive midfield position. Joe Cole, Frank Lampard, Hernan Crespo, Carvalho, John Terry. We had a really pretty decent squad. So, and the fact that we won the league, it wasn't even just close. We won quite convincingly. Like it was more than like, I think it was 13 points or something players. So like second place. So I was pretty proud. And that's the season I thought, okay, we've arrived. People have to take us seriously now. That's it.
Yeah, I agree. It was we've had so many good different styles, different type of managers with different philosophies that have come in and won it in different ways. I remember the Conte year because, like Sophia said, it never looked like we was going to do it. We lost back to Liverpool and Arsenal away 3-0. And then he done that switch of formation. He ended up making Marcos Alonso look like blimmin' Robertson now. Do you remember? He was like scoring like constantly.
Yeah,
and
why
was,
don't I haven't seen us play three formation in a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Didn't we play 3-4-3 against Spurs in the away game?
It worked, didn't it? We won 2-0, didn't we, in that game as well? If I remember rightly, it did. I don't know. I think Lampard's got a lot of questions to answer still, so we'll have to see what happens. We've got 2 questions from the viewers that they keep asking for me to ask you, ladies. One of them is views on Mason Mount as a player, and I'm going to start with Lambs on this one.
Listen. Okay, I don't dislike Mason Mount. I'm not his biggest fan, obviously, but I just think it's so clearly obvious that Frank Lampard is trying to make him into the player that he once was, and it's just not working. So just abandon the effort. Please play the players that you actually bought them to play in these positions. Stop trying to create your protege. It's not going to work. At least don't use Chelsea as an experiment. He's a hard worker, but then again, people always pulling out statistics, and we all know statistics don't tell the whole story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, yes, he puts in a lot of balls, he creates a lot of chances, but we've seen these games, we've watched these games. Do we look really threatening when we're going forward? Any of these chances, they're not clinical enough. They're like half chances at best. You know what I mean? Like when we're sitting there, we're not like, oh, we're probably going to score. We look like we're going to score. We're sitting there thinking they're going to clear the ball easily. We're going to lose possession again. Like nothing is going to come off at the end of this. And that's kind of my thing of Mason Mount. I feel like he works hard, and we can use him to come on as a sub in like the 60th, 65th minute. He provides that pace, that burst of energy. Like when we're struggling in the game, he can change the mood, and that's something that we can. But I just don't think he's a starting option, and Lampard he's not getting it. He's not getting it. Like he's the most overplayed player in this Chelsea squad so far since Lampard's arrived.
Yeah, look, there's a lot of questions on him. You either love him or hate him. I don't think people hate him. I just think he's, like you said, I think he's overplayed. He's just overplayed.
Exactly.
That's not his fault. Do you know what I mean? He's a young player that's obviously still trying to develop as himself. Do you know what I mean? Which is another thing. Joyce, do you agree with Lambs on this, or do you have a different view to Mason Mount?
I agree kind of partly. I feel like as Chelsea fans, we need to, when we talk about Mason Mount, we need to like learn to separate Mason Mount and what he is and what he does as a player, and how Frank Lampard chooses to use and overuse him. Because I think when we criticize Mason Mount, the first thing that people say is like, he's always playing and he does this and he looks tired, and like that's not Mason Mount's fault. That's kind of like you said, because Frank Lampard is playing him. But if you look at him like as a player himself, I think he's not like the best player in the world. He's not like better than, you know, some of like the players around his own age. He's not like better than like Foden or whatever, but he's got a really great engine. He's a very useful player. Like if we had a manager who could coach us and, you know, press properly, you know, he'd be great for like leading the press. You know, he's got a decent he's decent at set pieces and like creating chances through set pieces and through corners and that kind of thing, and he strikes the ball quite well. So he's got qualities. I just think you know, I'm glad that Lampard kind of pushed him into an 8 because he looks better there. I just think he doesn't need to play as much as he does, and I think he's doing him a disservice by kind of, you know, wearing him into the ground. But
I hear that. I hear exactly what you're saying. Beth, we know how much you love Mason Mount. So do you want to tell us what you feel about this?
I do. I love Mason Mount. I think that he's really reliable and he's really consistent at the moment. And I feel like that's something that the squad kind of is lacking in some areas. I don't think other players are being as consistent. I don't think he doesn't tend to have that many bad games. I would agree that I think he probably starts too many games. But kind of like Joyce said, that's not really his fault that he's getting picked for so many games. I do think that we can just rely on him when he plays. I think there's definitely room for improvement for him, but I don't really get the Mount slander myself. There's a lot of people that don't like him, I've seen, but I don't really understand that.
No, I get you.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Charlotte, anything you want to say on Mason Mount?
I mean, Lamb's basically said it all, you know. Like, yeah, I personally don't believe he should be starting at like. I feel like he's more of he's like Olivier Giroud. You bring him on and he gets that last bit done. Like he gets you through that last like 15, 20 minute period, and he brings an energy. Or like Giroud gets that goal, and Mason Mount brings the energy. Like, and that's all. And I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not saying at all. But I personally believe that we've spent all this money. Why aren't play this money? Like play it. Like, don't be like favoritizing. But the problem I have is he's playing Mason Mount still, like, and he's playing Abraham still, and I have nothing against that. Well, I mean, I don't. But like, he's not taking any risks. There's no changing. There's no nothing. If he was putting Mason Mount on and Mason Mount was taking risks, I wouldn't have an issue at all. Like, I wouldn't have an issue if they were actually playing for risks, but then. Just play 4-3-3. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, let's change it. Until they play it until it doesn't work, and you can't. And I'm not saying Mason Mount's a bad player, but I personally believe he should be a super sub. Like,
Okay.
he can
No,
start
that's
like FA Cup and that, but like I believe for
Yeah.
Premier League, Champions League, he could be brought on that energy.
all right. No, that makes a lot of sense as well. Sophia, do you want to add to any of this?
I think I would say he just gets like the slander and the hate. I think because in a way Lampard is kind of pushing him down our throats, which I kind of get, but I don't see the need for the hate. Or I think it's because people are just like that because he's English and they just, I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
they think he's overrated and because he's English.
Chelsea
and...
fans.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he is good. He's always like on form and he perseveres a lot. But yeah, I think he needs to kind of take a step back, take a break for a bit. And
I think with Mason Mount, I just think, like you said as well, I like Mason Mount. I think he's a good player. I think he's it's his work rate that keeps him in the team more than anything. Because when you look at him, he doesn't really create much for strikers. He breaks up play. When he has got the ball, he is okay with it, but he's not the most effective. Like, I would expect a bit more from him in that position. He should be contributing to a lot more goals as well, which he isn't doing. But you know, it is what it is. I ain't going to criticise someone that's so young. Do you know what I mean? I mean, into his second season in the top flight Premier League. So at the moment, it's like, yeah, I agree he's being overplayed. He should be playing Havertz, Kovacic, whoever else. Do you know what I mean? Giving him breaks. But I think Lampard thinks the only way his formation is going to work, the 4-3-3, is having him in the team. And I just don't think that's the case. I don't think he has that as a good excuse. But yeah, one more question, and then we're going to tie it up. I'll let anyone start this one because I don't know if you actually know what your favourite kit was. But does anyone actually have a favourite Chelsea kit?
the blue and the gold.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was about to get a picture up and be like, this one.
Oh, that was
that
was
is just
literally-
so sleek and just
literally,
amazing.
that is one of the best.
My God.
The blue
We
and
can
gold,
do
is that the 2004?
Yeah, that
2012,
was beaut.
2013,
Yeah.
Yeah, the one like after Champions League.
Europa League one. Actually,
Fair enough.
I'm sure I've got it here.
She's got it.
Has
I've
he got
got a
Torres
really
on the
old
back?
Chelsea shirt
I
here.
had Torres on the back of mine.
I think it was like 2012, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I had Hazard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, you got Torres as well.
Oh,
Bernard
man.
Torres, we never forget.
And it was when he still had the number 17.
Yeah,
The one from
Yeah.
Torres was-
but I have
Yeah.
a second
Yeah.
favourite. Where is
He's
it?
got them all.
My just a draw. I actually
I
love
remember
this.
that.
I've worn it to death.
Oh,
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah. That was a good
absolutely
kit,
destroyed, but I love this one. And that's
Yeah.
big up matter.
Matt.
Listen.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good kit, you know.
We
I
had
like
some
that
very
one.
nice kits. The one kit that I do actually hate, and you probably might disagree with me, is the one that we got the third kit this year. It looks like Crystal Palace or
Oh,
something.
I
Like,
hate that
horrible.
one.
I hate this
just
one.
looks like
I
vomit.
literally hate it.
Oh.
No, it looks like Crystal
It's
Palace.
so
It
ugly.
looks like we're
Worse.
turning up to play. It genuinely looks like we're Crystal Palace playing. I'm like, I'm sorry, when did we turn up to be Crystal Palace? We didn't. Then not our colours.
That would explain why we're playing like Crystal Palace.
Someone needs to tell the colour director. Someone needs to tell the colour guy that they're Crystal Palace, not Chelsea colours.
It's so bright as well. It like hurts my eyes.
Don't.
I hate it. Awful.
Anyway,
Oh.
ladies,
Literally.
thank you for.
I see them on the pitch and I'm like, I hate it.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, thank you for joining us, Joyce, our special guest today. Thank you for coming in and
Having me.
having you on. It'd be nice to have you on more. So, I say the other four now because Lambs is slow. This is a second appearance now in a row. You probably see Lambs a lot more moving forward. But yeah, Joyce, where can people find you on the socials?
So my @ on Twitter and then my tag on Instagram is eljoyce_. And on Clubhouse too, if you use that, it's just like the same everywhere.
Fair enough. People go and follow her and check her out. Lambs.
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram. My tag is right there at the bottom of the screen, as you can see. Also, you can find me here. I sometimes am on Monster Stream watching Cheslea disappoint me lately, and on the Midnight Vibe show on the Football Terrace as well. So.
Yes.
And I do.
Yes, people, make sure you go and watch that.
As well, so.
Yeah, make sure you go and watch that as well. Midnight Vibes is Midnight Vibes Monsters channel. They're all massive channels doing very well at the moment. Beth.
Yep, find me on Twitter at KingKaiFC and on Instagram _FDXC. Yeah, thanks.
Wicked. Charlotte.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Charl_strong. You can also find me on here most of the time. And as of next Thursday, I will be having my own show on Football United TV. So stay tuned.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, go on, Charlotte.
You're going to give us a little teaser. What is it about?
It's going to be called Classic Corner, and it's
All right.
going to be coming on, and I'm going to get all of you on here as well, and we are going to talk your favourite old school classic player, and I am going to interrogate you about everything.
Sounds like Charlotte, doesn't it? Let's be serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely interesting. Yeah, guys, appreciate it. Viewers, love having you on. Appreciate your support as always. You can find me, Sophia, and ads in the description below where you've got our Twitter links. We've also got a Discord channel, which is banging at the moment. So, yeah, sign up to that. There's a link for that as well. Yeah, guys, we're GNA TV, and we will see you again very, very, very soon. Peace.
It's like it's playtime when it's free time. In the dance, they have to take a glance, but we stepping out the room.